Their bones will wet my blade. Another body for the gutter. This blade's my favorite. Enjoy the taste of steel.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are playing Talon today. AD assassin in the mid lane. He has really high kill pressure, but he's mostly known for his really OP roaming ability. He's one of the absolute best roaming champions that we have. So his laning phase, you can play it really aggressive early on, guys. He has a really OP level 2. So his passive, his abilities will give him stacks of that passive. Your W can give you 2 stacks because it will damage people twice. And then once you have 3 stacks, then you can proc this passive with an auto attack to deal bonus damage. Now in level 1 you're not able to proc this passive, guys, because you need 2 abilities, so you can start proccing this from level 2 and onwards. So your Q, when you finish the target off with your Q, then you're going to heal. And if the target is a bit further away and you Q to them, then your Q becomes a dash. But if you use it in melee range, like in super close range, then it will crit instead. And level 2 is actually where people start respecting Talon, because this is the point where you can start proccing his passive. So if you like try to fight him as a mage or something, you're going to lose it 100%. It's super important to know that your Q, guys, is also an auto attack reset. So when you're fighting, like in melee range, make sure that you just don't use your Q randomly. Make sure that you get one auto attack in, then you immediately use Q, and then you get the next auto attack in. That allows you to get the damage off really fast, and it also allows you to proc that passive really fast as well when you combine it with your W. Also, most of your W damage is on the return part of this ability, so make sure that you hit people with that, because the first part is not dealing that much damage. It's mainly used to like get a free stack of your passive. But yeah, the passive is what you have to play around on Talon. That's super important. You really have to focus on proccing this every single time you go for a trade. And we did get that early kill. I like to limit test a lot, especially in these bad lanes, because assassins do not do well into bruisers, because they'll be really tanky and they will also build a lot of armor or other defensive stats, meaning that your lethality purchases will not be as effective. And the E ability is what allows you to jump over walls, and this is what he's hated for, guys. This is what makes him one of the best roamers in the game, because you can access different gank paths that other champions are not able to. So you are able to like get past wards and stuff. So you can really get some really good roams off. So try to focus a lot on roaming if you're not able to find kills in the mid lane. And I like to roam to the squishy lane a lot. So if they have like a Akshan or Timo in the top lane, then I go top lane. But usually I try to focus as much as possible in the bottom lane, because they almost always have a squishy target. But you can also decide based on how the laning phase is looking. For example, if the top laner, the enemy top laner, constantly shoves your laner in, while your laner has some really good CC and is like good at setting you up for ganks, then of course you can also just go top. But it really depends on the champions as well as the lane state. So you can use that E to get back to lane faster, like hop over the structures here. When you jump over walls, guys, try to click on the other side of the wall, especially if you're new, because that just makes it easier, and make sure that you don't mess up this jump. See how I did that combo really fast? That's why I said it's very important that you use that Q as an auto attack reset. I got that W off, guys, and then I made one normal auto attack, then immediately Q, and then another auto attack. That's a lot of damage, especially in the early game. Like if this was a mage, guys, like he would almost be dead. That's how much damage this is dealing. You can also last hit the minions with a Q, because it is going to refund some of the cooldown, but it also heals you. Now you got that ultimate up, so it's another AoE ability, guys, and once you use it, Then you also go invisible. Like this is true invisibility, meaning that you will not get spotted by wards. Or the red trinket, like it can see the shadow, you know, like the where you're hit, but they're not able to target you. So it's only stuff that gives true sight that can actually spot you. This ultimate is so good for assassination. As you can see right here, it makes you invisible so people are not able to target you, so they don't see where you are going. This makes him such a good assassin, and of course, as an assassin you want to go for the carries, you want to go for the mage, you want to go for the AD carry, and you can also just focus down the squishy targets like the support. So for the mythic items, you can actually go for any of the 3 mythic items, but they have a pretty tanky team this game. Like they have a Vi, they also have a Mordekaiser in the mid lane, and they have a Nautilus. So Eclipse is of course the best item against tanky opponents, but if they have a squishy team, you can also go for the Prowler's Claw. That is going to give you the highest damage output with all of their lethality and the active. And then you also have the Dust Blade that's going to make you invisible. Every single time you make a takedown, really helps you reposition and such after every single kill. So if you're not able to find any more kills in the mid lane, then you just roam. You just gotta roam over and over, guys. Like this is what really tells people in solo queue especially, is the fact that you have so much freedom when you play roaming champions like Talon. Like you can constantly roam bot lane and just perma-gank the AD carry over and over. That is 100% gonna tilt him, and a lot of people just go AFK. Because they will be flaming their own mid laner, even though he cannot do anything about it, because roaming champions like Talon can also just ignore the wave and just peace out. Like they are so hard to control in the mid lane, and that is what makes them so obnoxious to play against. We just hit the bot lane and looking for a kill here. Use the walls to jump over. You know that red mark that shows over the walls right here? That means that you recently used that E on them, so it's on cooldown, so you're not able to use the same wall for a short duration. And then you can see when it's switching colors to like yellow, it means that it's on a lower cooldown. But red means that you recently used it, so it will take a while before it's ready again. But remember, when you fight, when you assassinate, trade and such, what's mostly important is that you proc the passive. Because a lot of your damage is in that passive, so if you don't get this off, then the target might escape, even though it might have been a really free kill. If you don't proc that passive, you're going to lose out on a lot of damage, and that could potentially mean that the target will escape. So of course you can get to other parts of the map really fast, way faster than most other mid laners in the game, so if you see a really good opportunity, you can just leave the lane, you know, without farming out the minions and then just roam. In this case right here, they had way too many people, so of course, and I also did not have my ultimate up, so I did not risk anything because I'm really fed, so I don't want to give them a lead away for free. So you can see the entire team is collapsing in the mid lane. Of course, when that happens, you can't really do much. You just gotta try to wake clear, and then maybe somebody's going to overextend for absolutely no reason, and then you take away the kill, and you just peace out. And Caitlyn's ultimate is actually one of the few abilities that gives a true sight on the target. So if she aims at you with the ultimate and you go into stealth, you will still be revealed. Because true sight is the only thing that counters your ultimate. So we got the Eclipse here. As I said, we are playing against a pretty tanky team. So this is the best mythic item for that on Assassins. And then we're gonna head towards the Humus Ghostblade. That a lot of damage and also mobility allows you to get to the other parts of the map faster, allows you to pull off easier ganks and also to escape if that's needed. It really gives you so much freedom. You can see, even though we are really fit guys, because he's a bruiser, it is still going to be a bit difficult just to take him down. So that's why assassins do struggle against bruisers, so if they pick like a Garen mid lane or something, don't pick Talon, like it's going to be so difficult. Otherwise, most matchups are fine. He does well into mages and immobile champions, but don't pick him into bruisers, like that is going to be such a boring lane, cause you cannot do anything if they play it well. And your passive of course also works on the monster camps. So make sure that you also take those away, especially if you're not able to do anything else, like you cannot find kills or you cannot roam or something. If you shout out the wave, then take away the camps as well, because it is going to extend your lead. That extra gold is going to add up over time as you keep taking away the camps as well, so don't forget to do that guys, because that is how you stay up in CS. So I actually unfortunately ran it down right there, because I greeted a bit for the Vel'Koz and that got my team killed. That's a bit unfortunate, that does happen though. But the worst part is that I was so fed that every single time I die, that's actually a big punishment. But because the enemy team is so far ahead, we don't really have any bounties. So that's the good part, because our lanes got pretty hard stomped, like top lane, bot lane. So the enemy team has the lead right now, but we are playing Talon, we are really fat, and this champion is super mobile, so he has a very easy time reaching the backline. You can see the damage output. This is the power of the Conqueror. Now you can also use Electrocute, but if you did that, you would not be able to fight the bruisers, like absolutely not. Because it is a keystone that gives you burst damage. After that, it does nothing. Conqueror is always active in a fight guys, and that AD does outscale the Conqueror by a lot, especially in extended fights. Or later on in the game, because that's actually free AD that you're getting. And it also does not have a cooldown, so that's also another important thing to know compared to Electrocute, is that once you use Electrocute it has a cooldown, but Conqueror does not. So while Electrocute might help you against one target, in teamfights it actually does nothing compared to the Conqueror, who can actually, or that can actually stay active during the entire fight. So our teammates are actually running it down pretty hard this game, but we are playing Talon. He has really high carry potential. We have to play towards our strengths, meaning that we don't want to go in from the front of the fight unless somebody is overextended. We want to like go in from the sides, you know, we want to be flanking. That's how you play assassins. And that is something you cannot do if you don't have the red sweeper, because if you don't clear out the wards, you don't know if the spot you're staying in is warded, and if it is, people are going to collapse onto you and they're going to one-shot you, because if you get hit by CC, they're gonna chain CC and kill you. We have level 11 here, that's of course a big spike, because that is another point into that ultimate, meaning more damage. So do be careful, because we did see Vi topside earlier on, so that's why I did not play as aggressive right here, because she could always collapse. And if she like tried to ult me, then it would be a bit doomed. Especially when they combine that with the Mordekaiser ultimate, then I would have nowhere to go. You can see how I'm kiting around and how I'm playing the fights. I'm not just staying in the fights, like once I use everything I have, I back off for a bit, I constantly follow them around, and then I do not engage until my stuff is ready again. That's how you want to play assassins, that's also how you want to play other champions with cooldowns, where abilities are the main parts of the damage. So when your abilities are on cooldown after you kill the target, just back off but constantly follow the enemy champions around. You can like be flanking, and then once the stuff is ready again, that's when you can go in. Also try to like bait out their important abilities, like if they have some kind of hard CC, try to wait until they used it. Or at least until you're sure enough that you can burst them down immediately before they get to use it. So we are spending actually a decent amount of time in this island. That's because we are so fed this game that we can destroy anyone. And it also allows us to get the objectives for free, especially because we were so far behind early on in the game. But now it's alright, some people are catching up. The Tristana has a gold bounty, I also do, and the Katarina. Now you have the Humus Ghostblade, that's a big damage power spike for assassins, and also for the mobility because it makes it harder for people to escape and also makes it easier for you to escape if something bad happens. And then the next item is usually the armor pin item because people will start having some kind of armor at this point in the game, especially if they have a pretty tanky team. But Cyrildas is not only built for the armor pin, it actually has another really useful stat, and that is the slow. Like that slow actually feels so OP on this item, because that makes it even harder for people to escape and also makes it even harder for people to dodge your abilities. You can see people will get constantly caught. That is going to happen all the time in solo queue, like you cannot trust your teammates. Sometimes you will be able to predict them getting caught and then you can be there in time. Other times you'll be there too late and there's nothing you can do about it, that's just how it is. But try to like predict before it's going to happen, be there before it happens. You can see I just went straight for the Caitlyn, I did not hit anybody else, that's because we are playing an assassin. Our goal is to take down the squishy carries, because if we can do that, then our own carry should be able to clean up. So that's our job. We want to take down the mages, the AD carries, you know, other squishy targets, and then let our own carries clean up. That is the goal of the assassins, because it is not your job to deal with the tanks. You're playing an assassin, so you're not able to kill them. Once they have the tank items, you'll just be wasting your cooldowns and just playing right into the enemy's hands because they want you to damage the tanks. Because that means they will not have anything left for the AD carries and then they can finish you off. So unless you are turbo omega fed guys, then you just want to play for the carries, okay? And if you're really fed and you can just one shot anyone, then it doesn't really matter who you're going for. You can see how annoying this mobility is. This is why he can be so obnoxious to play against, because he's so hard to shut down, so hard to gank as well, because he has so many different structures that he can jump past, you know, get away towards. So it's like really hard to gank and really hard to counterplay as well. So that is why no matter what meta we are in, and season as well, champions like Talon will always be strong just because of how strong their roaming ability is and how much damage they have, because this is a champion that can one-shot people easily, and combine that with his roaming, then you can already tell how strong his map pressure is. It's like you're playing against a Twisted Fate, except this champion can perma roam and also has perma burst damage and insane mobility. You know, it is pretty hard to like stay up and farm on champions like the Talon, and there's actually almost no player in high loot that has really high farm. So don't worry about your farm not being as high compared to other champions like mages and such. Most people I've seen are sitting around 6 CS per minute. And that is because on assassins you play for kills. Not as much for farm, but like you get the gold back through kills. On mages, for example, almost every single game I have at least like 7, 8, 9, 10 CS per minute. But on assassins, they just go for kills all the time, so you will not be able to have that high of CS number. Sometimes you will be able to have when you're really fed and you just one-shot the waves. But in most games, you can expect to have like 6, maybe 5, 6 CS per minute. That is also fine. If you're able to find kills, that's what matters the most on Assassin, is that they want to snowball in the early to mid game. So the number one goal is to find kills. We do have a Cillian with us, and that's just super annoying. Like 2 assassins and a Cillian, like there's no chance to escape. And even if they catch us, then he can just press that ultimate and we are going to revive. This Cillian is also one of the most annoying champions that you can play against. And there we go, we hit level 16. Thanks to his passive. So that is the big power spike. That's another massive power spike because that's the last point into the ultimate. Really increasing that damage output by an insane amount. And now we also have low cooldown on our abilities, guys, because we actually have a lot of ability haste. Like we are sitting on 65 ability haste right now. That's actually insane. And not only that, we're also sitting on a lot of gold. So you actually have a couple of options here. If they have a lot of shielding, you can go for Serpent's Fang. But Edge of Night is also really good. Because it gives you this shield, right? And it makes it so much harder for the support to like peel you off the carry. Like for example, if it's like a Nautilus or a Blitzcrank, their hook is not going to work because your shield will cancel it out. So it makes it a lot harder for people to like peel their carries from assassins like Talon. Because they would have to waste one of their important abilities before they could do so. So he would have to like waste his Q. And if he does that, then he will not be as good as peeling his AD carry anymore. So it actually adds a lot of pressure onto the enemy team when you have this Edge of Night. You can see if you're getting perma CC like this, guys, there's a Nautilus ultimate coming in. You just have to peace out, because if you let them chain CC you, you're going to die really fast. You have ridiculous damage output, but you're also very squishy, so don't forget that. You're not able to tank multiple people at once without the ultimate. Now for the final item. So we have a lot of options as an AD assassin, but there's a really OP item right now, and that is the Death Stance, because while giving you AD, it also makes you really tanky. Because the damage you are receiving, guys, that will be dealt over time instead. So it actually counters other assassins and other champions with burst damage because it works against magic damage as well now. That means that even the mages will have a very hard time bursting you down. And then if you get a takedown, of course, getting all that HP back. So this item is actually really OP on assassins. Like, it makes them really tanky and they're not supposed to be that. Like, their main weakness should be that they're really squishy and easy to take down whenever they make a mistake. But with this death stance, then they actually become really tanky, extremely hard to pin down. Like, even if you use everything on them, that damage is not coming off instantly, so it gives them time to like find a kill and then get that HP back. And it's a Talon that Vi is playing against, meaning that she is not able to get away. Like, this mobility is just too much. She even flies away and that is not enough. You can see Sonya's Hourglass is a bit annoying. That's how it goes for most assassins. It's not as bad for Talon compared to something like a Zed, for example, because that is going to cancel out his ultimate. You have really low cooldown on your W and your Q as well, so it doesn't really matter that much. So I really like to stay in the enemy jungle a lot, especially if I know there are no wards around. And that's a really good thing to know to do if there are some big objectives up and you think the enemy team is going to face check. Because if Vi or Vel'Koz or another squishy target steps up at this point, they're just getting one shot, and that just means that you're getting a guaranteed Baron. So that's something you really want to be focused on doing on assassins. But this is actually what you want to do on assassins, guys. Really focus on getting those kills. Try to flank people in fights, go for the squishy targets. Your goal are the carries, the squishy targets, like the AD carries, the mage in the mid lane, the squishy support if they have like a Lulu or something. Just one shot them, get out, wait for your cooldowns, and then go back in. But we got the Baron, so this game is pretty much over. So this is kind of how you carry like a losing team, like when your teammates get stumped. Talon is one of the perfect champions to counter a griefing team because of all that map pressure he has, so he's able to constantly help out his teammates. But this is the power of those roaming AD assassins and why they're so strong in solo queue. But this was how to play Talon. I hope this was helpful. As always, thanks for watching, guys, and see y'all in the next one.